Zay. I live in Columbus, Indiana, and I pastor Sandy Hook United Methodist Church. It's good to be with you today on this Monday as we enter the third week of Advent. So we're preparing for the third Sunday. And today we look in the Gospel of John. So we detour a little bit from Mark, which is the primary text during year B, and we enter into the Gospel of John for this Sunday. And we take a look at John the Baptist, which John was referenced in last week's gospel passage in the first chapter of Mark. And so today we find a little bit more about John and his witness. And so we're going to look at chapter 1, verses 6 to 8, and then we're going to jump down and look at 19 to 28. So as we take a look at John the Baptist, who is he, is the question, and who is he not in this particular text. There's a summary statement. John, the writer of the gospel, writes a summary statement about John the Baptizer. And by the way, John was the most popular male name, or one of the most popular male names in the time of Jesus. And you obviously can see that through all the Johns that we have around. So John, the beloved, is the author of the Gospel of John. John the Baptist is a supporting character in this particular text. So this is a summary statement about who he is. And it says, a man named John was sent from God. So the first thing we learn is this John is sent from God. He is a sent one. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him, everyone would believe in the light. He himself wasn't the light, but his mission was to testify concerning the light. So that we find out quite a bit about John the Baptist here. He's sent by God. He is a witness. So God calls him to be a witness, to testify or to point to the light. And the light is a metaphor here for Jesus. So John's mission is to point people. And here it says that through him, everyone would believe in the light. So John's mission is to point everyone to Jesus. That's John's calling from God. God sent him for this particular purpose. Now that's important because now this next section, 19 to 28, really is a inquisition by the religious leaders, by the priests, by those in that community, trying to get at where does he get the authority to baptize people? Now, baptism was used in that day to bring Gentiles into the Jewish community. So a Gentile person would go through this ritual cleansing called baptism, and they would become Jewish. They would become part of the Jewish. In other words, they have to get the Gentile off of them. And so that's kind of what it was used for. Now, John's baptizing all kinds of people. So what authority does John have in doing it? So he gets quizzed by the religious leaders. And so verse 19 says, this is John's testimony when the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to ask him, who are you? That's the question, right? Who is John? Where does he get his authority? John confessed. He didn't deny, but confessed, I'm not the Christ. And so John's reply is, I'm not Jesus. That's who I'm not. I'm not the light. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Christ or the chosen one that is to come. John is not him. And so he defines who he is by saying who he's not. And then it continues with this train of thought. They asked him, then who are you? Are you Elijah? Elijah was a great prophet who was taken as he was alive. He was taken by God. And so there was this prophecy that Elijah would come back. And so they're asking John if he's Elijah coming back. And John says, no. Now, there are other references. Even Jesus himself kind of refers to him as Elijah coming back. But John himself says, I'm not Elijah. Are you the prophet? One like Moses that would come. So there's this prophecy of this great prophet who would come. And John says, no, I'm not him. They ask, then who are you? We need to give an answer to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself? John replied. So John says, hey, I'm not the Christ. I'm not Elijah, and I'm not this prophet, this great prophet. And then John says in verse number 23, I am the voice crying out in the wilderness, make the Lord's path straight, just as the prophet Isaiah said. So John is the voice. John is the voice who is preparing the way for the coming of the Christ, coming of the Messiah, coming for Jesus, the light. And so John's job, his mission, is to point people to Jesus, point people to the light. So he is not these things, but he is the voice. He is the one who's called to be a witness, to testify, to point people to Jesus. And I find that significant. So again, he finds his identity in Scripture. He sees himself as fulfilling this Isaiah 40, verse 3, I am the voice in the wilderness. If you know anything about John the Baptist, he was different, countercultural, came from the margins. He didn't come from the city center. He wore different things, ate different things that were customary. So he was definitely an odd person. People referred to him as a Jesus freak. He was somebody who was countercultural. So what we recognize here is John was very focused on his mission. He didn't want to fit into the corrupt society. He wanted to stand out and be who the person is that he was called to be, which is the witness, the mission. And all this takes place at the Jordan, which was a symbolic site where the Israelites crossed over into the promised land. So all of this coming Messiah, has to do for leaving the wilderness where God comes from to cross over into the promised land. So the question that I'm wrestling with today, based on this text, is, who are we? That's the question we asked. Who are we? Where John was asked, who are you? So the question that's asked to us by our entire world is, who are we? Are we the Christ? Are we the King? Sometimes we live that way, right? Or are we a witness to the truth? Are we a witness, someone testifying, pointing to Christ, the light, the one who comes to reveal all truth, exposes all things, who judges? Are we the witness? Are we the King? It's great questions to wrestle with this morning. Hope you enjoyed our little devotional thought here. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow to jump into 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 to 24. I hope you have an amazing day on this Monday. Monday's my Sabbath, so I kind of take it easy, slowly get up and drink my coffee. So that's the reason videos are a little later on Monday. But anyway, I hope you have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow. Grace and peace, everyone. Take care.